Brazil, the country that feels like an entire world. Imagine a country so enormous that it stretches across almost half of South America. A country with the world's largest tropical rainforest, some of the most spectacular beaches on Earth, enormous cities, legendary football culture, colorful festivals, and wildlife found nowhere else. This is Brazil. Brazil is the largest country in South America and one of the most fascinating places on the planet. From the streets of Rio de Janeiro to the depths of the Amazon rainforest, Brazil is a country of incredible contrasts. But Brazil is much more than football, beaches, and carnival. So today, let's take a journey through Brazil and discover what makes this enormous country so extraordinary. Where is Brazil? Brazil occupies a huge part of eastern and central South America. It borders almost every country on the continent, except Chile and Ecuador. Its Atlantic coastline stretches for thousands of kilometers, giving Brazil countless beaches and coastal cities. The country is divided into 26 states and one federal district, where the capital, Brasília, is located. But Brazil's most famous city is probably Rio de Janeiro. Rio is known around the world for its dramatic mountains, beaches, music, and spectacular views. Yet Rio is only one small part of this enormous country. Brazil is so large that its landscapes range from tropical forests and wetlands to mountains, grasslands, and enormous coastal areas. The Amazon. When people think about Brazil, one place immediately comes to mind. The Amazon. The Amazon rainforest is one of the most important ecosystems on Earth. A huge portion of the Amazon rainforest lies inside Brazil. It contains an extraordinary variety of plants and animals, including jaguars, sloths, giant river otters, macaws, anacondas, monkeys, and thousands of species of fish. The Amazon River is also one of the world's great rivers. Millions of people live in and around the Amazon region, including indigenous communities whose cultures and traditions have developed alongside the forest for generations. For visitors, exploring the Amazon can feel like entering another world. Instead of skyscrapers and highways, you find enormous trees, winding rivers, mysterious sounds, and wildlife hidden throughout the forest. The Amazon isn't simply a Brazilian attraction. It is one of the planet's most important natural environments. Rio de Janeiro. Now let's travel from the rainforest to one of Brazil's most famous cities. Rio de Janeiro. Few cities in the world have a landscape quite like Rio. Mountains rise dramatically beside the Atlantic Ocean, while beaches stretch along the city's coastline. One of Rio's most recognizable landmarks is Christ the Redeemer. Standing on Mount Corcovado, the enormous statue overlooks the city with its arms extended. Another famous landmark is Sugarloaf Mountain. Visitors can take cable cars toward the summit and enjoy spectacular views over Rio, the ocean, and surrounding mountains. Then there are the famous beaches. Copacabana and Ipanema have become symbols of Brazilian beach culture. But Rio isn't just about beautiful scenery. The city is also famous for music, dancing, nightlife, and carnival. Brazilian Carnival. Every year, Brazil becomes the center of one of the world's most famous celebrations. Carnival. The event is famous for enormous parades, elaborate costumes, music, dancing, and huge crowds. The carnival celebrations in Rio are particularly famous. Samba schools spend months preparing their performances. Their dancers and performers move through massive parade venues, while elaborate floats and costumes create a spectacular show. But Carnival isn't limited to Rio. Cities across Brazil celebrate Carnival in their own unique ways. In Salvador, for example, massive street celebrations fill the city with music and dancing, Carnival demonstrates something important about Brazilian culture. Music and celebration are deeply connected to everyday life. Brazil and football. If there is one sport that Brazil is famous for around the world, it is football. Brazil has one of the most celebrated football traditions in history. The country has produced legendary players such as Pelé, one of the greatest footballers ever, as well as many other international stars. Brazil's national team is famous for its yellow jersey and attacking style of play. Football isn't simply a sport for many Brazilians. It is part of the culture. Children often play football in streets, parks, beaches, and small neighborhood fields. On match days, families and friends gather together to watch their teams. And when Brazil plays on the international stage, the entire country can feel connected by the game. Brazilian food. Brazilian culture is also reflected in its food. Because Brazil is enormous and culturally diverse, its cuisine varies greatly from region to region. One famous dish is feijoada, a hearty stew traditionally made with black beans and pork. Then there is pão de queijo, small, soft cheese breads that are especially popular in Brazil. Brazil is also famous for its barbecue, known as churrasco. Different regions have their own ingredients, recipes, and traditions. And of course, Brazil is one of the world's major producers of coffee. For many people, Brazilian food is a perfect example of the country's cultural diversity. Brazil's amazing wildlife. Brazil is one of the most biodiverse countries on Earth. Beyond the Amazon, the country contains several different ecosystems. There is the Pantanal, one of the world's largest tropical wetlands. It is famous for its wildlife and is an important habitat for jaguars, caimans, giant otters, birds, and many other species. Brazil is also home to unique animals such as the giant anteater, three-toed sloths, toucans, and colorful macaws. Some species exist nowhere else on Earth. For nature lovers, Brazil can feel like one giant wildlife adventure. Brazil is more than a country. It feels like an entire world within one nation. It has the Amazon rainforest, spectacular beaches, enormous cities, incredible wildlife, legendary football, unforgettable music, and one of the most diverse cultures on Earth. From the streets of Rio de Janeiro to the rivers of the Amazon, Brazil offers something completely different at every turn. And perhaps that's what makes Brazil so fascinating. You don't simply visit Brazil. You experience it. If you enjoyed this journey through Brazil, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more incredible countries and destinations from around the world. Until the next journey.